a feeling I want to know.
Somehow I'd have to go on this so much repeat.
That's probably not helping your headache. You're just nostalgic. Shut up.
Welcome to CDR, where we give our unprofessional opinion. One guy knows nothing about music and one that knows a little bit more, Matt, and myself, Bryn. This week we've been listening to Porter Robinson's second LP,
Nurture.
And it's been 7 years since his previous one, being Worlds, which he's kind of struggled to find inspiration to write again, also with the family dramas in the middle of it. But after traveling around the world, finding himself a girl, finding inspiration from a Japanese pianist, Bon Iver, his parents, his girlfriend, and Cornelius.
Well, he would be my favorite of the lot, obviously.
Oh, yes, of course. And especially when you've got the name that starts with corn. Or sign language for corn. That.
Anyway.
The 29-year-old self-taught, started producing him for himself when he was 12. He kind of runs around with a complextro, which is adding classical-inspired melodies and complicated feels to his music. He also was the menu song in Forza Horizon in 2012 with Language.
Okay.
And he was nominated for a Grammy for Best Dance Record for Ghost Voices.
Okay.
Which was his first LP. 59 minutes, electric dance music. How did you feel about this?
I mean, I knew going into it was EDM, and again, it's sort of not a genre that I've had really too much mucking around with.
Not without a few bickies.
I'm a clean boy, Brittany. Don't slander my name. I didn't mind it. It's a pretty comfortable listen.
Yep.
It flows through most of the songs without too much hemorrhaging. Like, it doesn't demand a lot of your attention. The music is very. I would use the term syrupy. It's thick with sound, but pleasant. It's I actually didn't mind listening to it each day. I found it somewhat therapeutic in the midst of doing work. It has its boppy bits. It has its slower moments. It has a lot of different contrasting emotions throughout the album. I think, I didn't mind my week with it. What about you?
I enjoyed it. For the first couple of listens, I almost fell asleep to it.
Right.
It's not what I thought an EDM would be. It was a lot more, piano, violin, acoustic guitar, a lot in it too. Yeah. Sometimes you'd find yourself hearing almost like this raw static sounds in the background, either be from singing or clicking on a mouse.
Yep.
Which I found oddly strange, but don't know why it's there. But
or
good on you. It's your artistic creation. Go for it.
Yeah, all the odd Windows sound effects sort of just shoved in there because why the hell not, right?
Yeah, everything was... I really did enjoy it. It does flow. There's like one or two songs that kind of flow into each other or pulling samples from the previous one. The only one I couldn't get past was Dull
Scythe.
Yeah, Dull Scythe.
It's a little bit more... It's probably the most abrasive track on the album, I would say.
It really is abrasive. Or what was the word? Abstract. It's 2 minutes of having a seizure.
Yeah.
Before getting into what I thought was quite an entertaining electronic and drums, and then into a little tap where I thought it was going to build up into something grand at the end, and it just...
No, you're just left with staccato, glitchy sounds at the start that if you have a headache, I'm sure it doesn't make for a good listen.
No, at least the nowhere. But there are a lot of sweet songs on here, and I find it hard to imagine him at a festival or a concert putting on this show for this album. I mean, Sweet Time and Mother. It's just so odd to imagine people trying to dance to this.
I mean, they do drop a few more classical, if I can use that term, EDM spots on the album. And I would say like Something Comforting, the breakdown in that particular song would have the mosh sort of going fairly well.
Yeah, well, it does pick up pace there.
Yeah, and it's infectiously catchy as well. I can imagine, you just close your eyes, roll with the music, and it would be kind of fun. But you're right, like, for what I thought I was getting myself into, I was expecting, I don't know, Eiffel 65 Blue, but like 12 tracks of it, and you're stuck listening to just electronic sounds all throughout. But there was a lot of care and attention with the instrumentation, and a lot of natural instrumentation mixed in pleasantly. And yeah, I think it's a stronger album for it.
Yeah, well, starting with Lifelike, where it was basically starting out with, I thought was like a heartbeat monitor, adding in like nature sound in the back, because you do hear birds. You actually hear birds quite frequently throughout the album.
Or sounds that you would think are like birds in the mix. Yeah, I agree.
Definitely they'd be made artificial to bring it up, but in that first one, you're just adding on layers on layers on layers, from like piano to clapping, violin. It just builds up and sort of gives you sort of a very, very small peek into what the album has coming forth.
Did you ever watch Skins?
Yeah, which one?
Oh, it doesn't matter. Don't you think this song could have been, like, the back end of this song could have been like the intro theme for like Skins? It feels like it has that levity with just like a hint of like angsty curiosity about it once you get past the naturey bits at the start. Listen to it again afterwards.
I will have to, yeah. I'll keep that in mind if I listen to it again.
But I think this is a good starter for the album.
It was a great start. I mean, especially when you come in 7 years to make an album and struggling with creativity, almost thinking he's a bit of a fraud because he didn't know what to do. It's probably, a really good spot to start. Just start out basic and build on top of that.
Gentle, yeah.
Yeah, and you go into, I really like Look at the Sky. There is a little part where it's look at the sky while standing crushing flowers underneath him, and the cover is kind of hilarious, where he's face plant into a field of, I don't know, little white flowers.
I mean, I quite like the album cover art because I think it speaks to the discomfort that the main character of this story has, whilst also showing that, it's not all doom and gloom. Because if it was all rosy, he wouldn't be face down in the flowers. He would be face up, right?
Oh, he just really wants to smell the flowers.
Yeah, and the dirt, and get bugs all off his nose, right? Like, I actually think the cover art does a fairly good job of showing that what the album is going to be. It's going to be bright and infectious, but there is something a bit deeper there, even to the lyrics, and I think...
almost like got an ostrich with his head in the sand.
Yeah, I mean, there are probably elements of that in the story as well, and typified by the album art. So yeah, absolutely. This is a good song. I like Look at the Sky.
Yeah.
It's catchy.
Energetic.
Yeah.
Yeah. Heavy bass, acoustic guitar just hit off straight away. I was like, oh, how many instruments can this guy play?
Yeah.
Don't know.
Plays the keyboard well.
Yes. and the drum machine too.
Yeah.
And he's really good at the mouse clicking in the background.
I like this one because it also talks about the struggles that you were mentioning. One of the lines is, you're losing your gift, it's plain to see. That must be a friend talking to him about the struggles that he has. And there are other flavors in the album that we'll get to about him maybe experiencing success too early, too soon.
Probably, yeah. I think it's more him talking to himself, because he's also you got Mirror in there as well.
Well,
he's really taking a good look at himself. So I really, most of the time when you think it may be someone else is talking to him, it's really just him talking to himself. Potentially. But
I feel like you're losing yourself is plain to see. Sounds like something a friend might say, but you're right. The track Mirror is just an internal monologue. There are some lyric choices in that make it a bit more clearer that it is just him talking to himself in his head. But, I mean, you might be entirely right. He might be the only person in this.
In this whole thing, yeah.
In this whole thing. The love interest that comes in might just be in his head as well. It's also possible. Who knows?
Yeah, and also the female vocals in this is Porter Roberson himself.
Yeah, but I'll reference them as the female vocals from here on out.
Fair enough.
I mean, I learned that just before the podcast started. Thank you, Brinny Boy.
You're welcome.
Yeah.
He just pitches it up to give it an artificial effect, giving it that more of a feminine sound.
I think it works.
It works so well.
Album, yeah.
But I guess that's why the two voices, when they sing in along with each other or opposite each other, you're like, wow, they really complement each other. It's like, because it's the same person.
Adoi. And I mean, like, if you're making an album of EDM and you're doing it on your laptop, aren't you going to go to the easiest source of female vocals, aka your own, just pitched up? I mean, obviously, right? Get Your Wish. What did you think of that track?
I thought it started out like a little bit of a lo-fi, but then it turned into a club.
Kind of had feel like a jazzy feel at the start, but yeah, the
you
club
like jazz?
Part, like it just feels like, okay, what are we going on here? And then then it busts out.
And I thought this is where like the rest of the album was going to go, but it did not at all. Like it chops and change all the way through, and like after that is Wind Tempos, which is, I thought there was like 3-minute intro for Wind Tempo before any of the lyrics come out, and there's a quick sound of Chewbacca in there, I swear.
I mean, there's a lot of sounds in there.
It really is.
It's 6 minutes, and then it's sort of broken up into three distinguishable phases. The first like 3 minutes has that piano going, and then the glitchy sound sort of popping in as time progresses, and then it breaks into that nice little piano.
Yep, for about a minute,
and then it's so holy, so holy.
Matt been in my ear all day with this part of the song, just like getting it. Funny, good thing about this, or fun fact, while he was in Japan traveling with his missus, they met up with a Japanese pianist and got to know him. Good guy. He had a sort of a snippet of a track of the guy playing on a toy piano. And it makes a quick little appearance in here. It may be a little bit distorted, but it is in there. And shout out to Masakasu Takagi.
You know what? That sounds legit. I'll back you in on that pronunciation.
Thank you. I try my best.
Do you think it was a bit long? I think at 6 minutes it's probably a touch long.
It's a bit long, and then vocals get really choppy, and I was just like, oh.
Yeah, Tony wasn't a fan of the lyrics, or not so much the lyrics, but the fact that it chops and it's a bit tough to kind of just listen to. I kind of like it. I think it adds a dysfunctional texture to it that I enjoy. Again, the track was probably just too long in the first place.
That choppiness in the vocals do lead into a sample in the next song, which I was, I kind of forgave it for that, but when it was starting, and then this is that part where I didn't know where this song started and ended, and the next song started, because I was like, it just goes into this silent moment, and you're like, oh, this must be the next song, and then it almost sounds exactly the same. Like, I just don't know, but he does play that just quieting down real well, and then just pumping it. Yeah, he has really good timing.
Yeah, he really does have the flair with mixing up the tempos of the tracks. Yeah, absolutely. That was probably one of the best takeaways from this is the fact that despite the fact that you can listen to it and it feels sort of samey to some extent, there are a lot of pushing and pulling on levers to make you feel different things throughout based on how the tracks accelerate or decelerate. It's really quite good. Musician?
I was about to say, the only quick note I really have down there is, like, for some reason I hear a Mario character in the background.
I wrote down that sounds like something ripped straight out of, like, those real camp 90s pop tracks. I'll bring it up after.
You'll have to.
But, like, every time I hear it, it's like, whoa! Whoa! Yeah, I know. You
know the part.
This song's pretty infectious. I like the bright bass and the chipmunk vocals, the auto-tuned female vocals. But and this track seems to be about him being reminded that maybe he should just go get a normal job and leave the musicianship alone, because it's not likely to lead to anything.
This is probably his biggest, like, the low point.
Potentially. There might be a lower point, or at least a reflection on a lower point later on. Then that leads into
Do, Re, Mi, Fa, Sol, La, Ti, Do.
I am embarrassed to say that I like this track.
Really?
Yeah. It's just pleasant. It's easy to listen to.
There's not a lot of singing in this, I mean, the only thing that's really is a super digitalized vocals in it, but the rest is just all instrumental, really, and it is quite soothing and pleasant.
Yeah.
I get that. Yeah.
Oh, I reckon there's also some digitized bird chirping in this one too.
Yes.
just for those counting the bird chirps. And then the next track, of course,
Being Mother, which I don't quite think it's all about his mother. I think it's about his parents. But people may feel more warm and fuzzy towards thinking as their mum.
Well, I guess the album's called Nurturing, and like that's a trait normally associated with mothers.
Yeah, I found this like quite sweet and warm.
Yeah, there's really not much like more to say in terms of the feeling you get from this track.
This whole album is all about feels for me. Like each song, you may feel some nostalgia or get some memories coming flooding back. Others may feel different moments in their life where this would have been a perfect soundtrack. It's really, really hard to explain this album.
This track is particularly uplifting because it feels like, and I guess it might be the parents, but let's pretend it's just the mother.
Sure.
It's, I'm on your side for the rest of your life. Like, it's not, the warm and fuzzies get real on a track like that. And it's sort of, the beats are also cheery. They're just so syrupy sweet. It's just, it's a pleasant listen, and the message is, without being complex, it was good.
Yep. Well, the next one is Dull Scythe.
Your favorite.
I feel like I was getting bludgeoned. It's just so weird to go from that into Sweet Time, which is a bit of a love ballad, starting out pretty good. I don't want you to... I wish we had more time, have more lives that have more time.
Yeah.
And then a breakup that's quite... I don't know, gentle?
So this is sort of where I feel like the album sort of starts to really conclude in some sense. So like you have the song Sweet Time, where the character in this story admits to some suicidal thought towards the start, but then he meets this person, and he now wishes he had many more lives to live so that he could live them with this person. Which is obviously a very warm and fuzzy sentiment, like a lot of the other sentiments in this album. This song also has the message of life sucks, but don't resent it. At the end of the day, like, shit happens. Just you do have to move on at some point. I actually quite like this track. I think it's pretty good.
It's a happy track. I mean, even though they broke up, he's still very happy for the person.
Well, later on they break up. At this point, this is the part
it's
where
sweet one, yeah.
Yeah, so Sweet Time, the breakups that I think blossom from memory.
Yep.
Mirror, though, is probably one of the more interesting tracks on the album.
Yeah, it's that internal talk, staring yourself down in the mirror.
Yeah.
You piece of shit. How fucking dare you?
But I like how bright and cheery the chorus is. It's almost like flying in the face of what is probably the more serious content in the lyrics. It juxtaposes the struggle in what I think is a kind of an interesting way. But then at the end, you get that sort of glitchy woman, going, just keep going, keep going, keep going. It'll all be okay in the end. And it's like, well, every song seems to end on
a positive note.
Almost to a fault, really. In fact, even the breakup song, they part ways and they're amicable, right?
Yeah.
Which I find just hilarious. Something Comforting was my favorite track.
This is the second single. You've heard this before you even listened to the album.
No, I literally heard it this week on Triple J.
Oh.
And I found myself singing along going, I know more Triple J songs now. But yeah, this song is really quite good. It has that nice melodic, almost minorish, arpeggiated guitar chords at the start that just sound really nice. And then it busts out probably the brightest EDM spot on the album.
Yep.
What did you think of this track?
This was probably the happiest in musical, emotional way, I would say it was. It was very uplifting. Even though I didn't read, was it? There's no lyrics to this one, is there?
No. Something Comforting. Something Comforting.
Oh, yeah.
Well, that's definitely going on the soundbite, isn't it?
Most definitely, yeah.
Oh, I shouldn't do that shit. This is a song that has the interesting bit at the end that I was telling you about earlier, where there's a single vocal line. So there is only at one point one person singing.
Yes, that's right.
But it interchanges between the male and female sporadically I don't know. I found that really quite interesting. So the last chorus is stripped back, and it's just really highlighting that change between the gender in a way that I found kind of engaging, and mixed in with the fact that it has the most upbeat breakdown and the guitars at the start were awesome. I thought, yeah, this is just my favorite track easily.
It is probably easily the favorite track. Blossom moved into just this weird acoustic lo-fi.
Fancy a track that doesn't have a single doof doof.
No, on an EDM.
Yeah.
That's why I'm wondering. It's like, how are you going to play this in a tent full of...
You probably don't.
No, you don't, because they're not going to get it.
So, like, this was just like...
Going to ruin their high.
This is just like listening to Postal Service or pick your favorite boy-girl duo acoustic act.
It's a lot softer, but it's
super soft.
Really, really. It's, even if I was to say like Angus and Julia Stone, it'd be nothing like that, because it's just this. It's really almost hard to hear them. I mean, it's very easy to understand what they're saying and singing, but it's just like everything is just almost this whisper.
Hushed, yeah. I was going to say Angus and Julia Stone, but then this is like a very love kind of...
Yeah, but when we were talking about duos who play acoustic
yeah,
guitars, I'm like,
know.
I don't know many. We could go off.
No, fair enough. I think...
This is just a love ballad that ends in the breakup.
Yeah, it ends in it being unrequited to some extent, and I think that's highlighted by one interesting lyric spot where it's they go to sing, it's just 'cause I love you, and throughout the entire song it's the boy and the girl singing, but it's just the boy for that line, which I thought was kind of telling and interesting in a narrative sense. So despite the fact that this is a stripped back track, I think it did quite a good job of conveying the message it wanted.
Yep. We move into Unfold, and also Trying to Feel Alive. I feel like these two would have been in run for final tracks of the album.
I think they got the order right. So like Unfold really feels like the aftermath to me. I put your pictures down. They're not as good as the real thing. Whereas the last track feels like there's a closure, and the track starts stripped back, and then it builds over time, and it's he's just trying to feel alive again. It feels like the moving on.
So he's trying to build a life, another life, or just moving on.
Just roll the wheels and move to the next thing.
Keep tracking.
Yeah, I thoroughly enjoyed the way the album shifted through the narrative structure. I thought it was actually really quite clever. And I didn't even notice this until maybe like the 6th listen. Like it wasn't until like yesterday that I was starting to pick up on this. I was still just busily going, "Oh, this is a happy album," and bopping along like an idiot, like I normally do. So yeah, I think this album grew over me.
Grew over you?
Yeah, it grew over me. Encased me in a shell.
Maybe we'll give you some hair.
Well, no chance of that. Grew on me. Yes, that's the right phrase. Over the week, because of the complexities that were there, which I was surprised to find.
Yep. I enjoyed it. I always enjoy every album we fucking listen to. It was easy listening, except for
one track.
Just everyone that heard it was just like, the fuck is going on? Yeah. Everyone thought like, is this a CD? Because this is skipping non-stop. This is the old school CD. Just got mad cuts and tracks and just coming back. And I was like, oh, for 2 minutes. Cut that out and I would enjoy this. But this is, I never would have pictured this to be an electronic dance album. This is not what I would think it would be. I would think it'd be more like dubstep or...
at the end of the day...
This is my first introduction to it.
Yeah, I mean, and I don't know enough about the genre to even really comment, and I'm sure that I've misappropriated terms left, right, and centre.
Oh, yeah, I'm pretty sure we got a lot wrong.
I mean, we say that at the start of the podcast.
Unprofessional.
Very.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Very unprofessional.
Very, very.
This is definitely worth a listen at least once.
Yeah, absolutely.
Get ready for a couple of them to be tracks in the clubs.
Yeah, I'd bop to them.
Most of them, no.
Most of them, no. But, like, all of them have their catchy bits and their synthy bits. Like, I think
I'm sure you can take samples and add them into that 30 seconds on the D floor.
I think I'd go. I would be interested in going to a Porter Robinson concert just to see what it was like.
I think you'll have to catch him at a festival.
Perhaps I might stay off the bickies though.
Yeah, do.
Yeah.
No chocolate chip bickies for you.
Okay.
Matthew, what is your rating?
You gotta have a guess.
Since it's a first introduction, I would say you'd be looking at between 5.5 to 6.
No, I was actually a bit warmer towards this than I thought I would be. I'm actually going to give it a 7.
Oh,
Yeah,
that's
I thought
nice of you.
I think it was pretty good, especially given the fact that this is the sophomore effort and he's struggling with success from the first album, and he took 7 years to do the second. I think considering all of that, he's done a pretty good job.
Yeah, I think his LP was a massive hit.
Yeah,
When you get nominated on your first go, that's awesome.
bang up job.
Bang up for a 29-year-old, killing it. Next week.
Can I have a guess?
Yeah, sure.
Did you pick your favorite band?
No, Sum 41 hasn't brought out an album.
Oh, come on. It is them, isn't it? It is them.
It is them?
It is?
It is?
Question mark?
Oh, no. Who are you thinking?
Rise Against?
Yeah, damn it. Nowhere Generation, and I'm super pumped. I'm fucking excited. I already heard the first track, and I'm just... I called a mate today, and I was like, do you know they brought an album? He's like, yeah, I'm all over it. Monarch is my favorite off it, so I'm like, I'm going to have to pay special attention to that.
All right.
But yeah,
Fuck
Rise
yeah.
Against, motherfuckers, yes! Oh, I'm pumped!
Yeah.
So pumped.
I'm pretty excited. This will be good. This will be fun.
This would be a good album for a week. At least we know that there's going to be a good album for a while.
Yeah, I'm down. And until my choice, obviously.
Black Midi, probably.
Music Box, Mariah Carey.
Oh, you motherfucker.
It might not be that, but it might be that too.
So it's my week, then Matt's week, and then it will be a solo act after that because I will kill Matt.
Yeah. Or we'll go back to hating each other with our album choices.
Yeah, we would just real peck.
Yeah. Anyway.
Vultures. All right, we've been CDR. Thank you. Please leave comments on what you thought about the album. If there's any fun facts, would really love some fun facts.
I'd like to know what I got wrong too. That'd be good.
Yeah, just tell me everything I did wrong, which is everything.
Uh-oh.
Oh, shit. Later.
Zap.
Bye. Oh, my fucking head is good to go. Let's go.
I think we actually did a pretty good job.